Okay, I'm back. If you hear a sound in the background, that is my wash machine, so I'll probably be muted for the good part of this beginning of the stream. Um, as far as things, after I quit yesterday, I went ahead and did all of the training grounds for all the characters, so they can get their titles and what is it? What is it called? The outfits. So I have the gold Sin Cleaver armor. I wish it was silver, but you know, I feel like that looks pretty dope. Noble Azure armor for Shion, and then the Lunar Inherited coat for Renwell. So this is what our party's looking like right now. Like I said, everyone has all of their titles from that, and so we're gonna continue on. All right, let's go.
I wonder what we'll find out there this time.
Most likely Zoogles, I would reckon.
I mean, other than them.
Mahag Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of lord we're gonna find there.
It doesn't matter. If they try to get in our way, we'll take them down and that'll be that.
Gotta break through! Here I come!
Elusive deity! Lightning condemned! No! Save my judgment!
Elusive deity!
If they rush you, you gotta jump for cover!
I'm ready!
Take this!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Let's talk in an instant! Impact Claw! We're a pretty lethal combination, aren't we?
What can I say? I had a good partner. Retreat if you know what's good for you. In a bind?
Instant!
Start up!
On your knees.
Take this! Take this! It's over! Start up!
Lightning! Downfall!
Rising Falcon! You're mine!
Charge like that can easily be favored.
We're on the
Just
home
as
stretch
well
now.
Don't take your eyes off the prize.
I'm quite aware without you reminding me.
You're
I'm all stuffed up!
You're mine!
Here I go! Here I come!
I'm practically unstoppable.
Hoo-hoo. Hoo! Hoo-hoo-hoo.
Look, Hoodle! One of your buddies!
Right,
Expert
here goes!
coming through! Vanquish darkness!
Elusive deity! Rotating pile driver.
Hurricane
This
thrust!
one's mine.
Dancing
I'll
away.
take you all on!
Annihilate field. Do it. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished!
I'll stop its charge!
Thanks, Kisara.
Barely a blip on our radar.
There's something in the water. I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Ren and eyes. Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble. I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod. You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done.
Hey, what do you think about that spot?
Good idea. I'll go for that one. Where should I cast my line? There we go. I'll catch something bigger next time.
Nice work.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins. Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us.
Okay!
I'm always amazed what healing arts can do.
Just doing my job. No need to thank me.
Hey. Is it just me, or have those two barely spoken a single word to one another?
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey, though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it. I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help.
Dohalim's fighting style is... what's the word I'm looking for? Subdued? No...
Do you mean elegant, perhaps?
Yeah, that's the word. For better or worse, you can definitely tell he's cut from posh Renin cloth.
And he's not just skilled with the staff either. He can also use astral arts, including healing ones. I can see how he made it to the position of a lord.
You flatter me, but my fighting techniques merely come from a style that aims to conserve energy by minimizing body movement.
Is that why you wait until the last second before you dodge attacks? To avoid unnecessary movements?
No, I do that to sharpen my senses. I find that doing so is an effective means of drawing out my innermost strength.
Oh yeah, I've noticed you look stronger and strike out with your rod more after you dodge attacks. Guess that's why.
Still, it's a risk. Don't you ever worry you'll dodge at the wrong moment?
Then, it'll be just as well.
Huh?
It's nothing. Let us continue.
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I noticed, especially with that open back.
We guardsmen pride ourselves on never showing our back to our enemies. It's my way of making myself live up to that. Plus, it makes it that much lighter and easier to maintain.
Dohalim, do you have anything to say about this?
Every guardsman is allowed to wear their armor as they see fit.
And you, La?
Huh? Why are you asking me?
This looks perfect. Guaranteed to hit the spot.
Kisara, let's talk for a bit. Maintaining your shield? It's becoming a familiar sight.
Miguel was the one who taught me how to maintain my equipment after I first joined the Guard. Now, it's just a part of my routine.
Your brother always seems to come up whenever I talk to you.
That's because we had no other relatives, so it was just the two of us growing up. He was my idol, the one I looked up to and wanted to be like. When I became a guardsman, Lagiel wasn't too pleased to see me at first. It was Miguel who really welcomed me aboard.
Lagiel? Oh, right. She was Miguel's second in the Gold Dust Cats, wasn't she?
That's right. She's always been a very critical and down-to-earth person. In other words, the complete opposite of a dreamer like me.
You're more an idealist than some pie-in-the-sky dreamer.
Even so, that's my brother's doing. He'd never let me stop seeing a brighter world. He always did what he could to keep me smiling and happy.
You must have meant a lot to him.
He wasn't just kind, either. He always worked so hard to set an example for me and everyone else around him. He was a true big brother. So much so that when he thought I was asleep, he'd slip out of the house to go training on the outskirts of town.
You seem to know a lot about it.
That's because I only pretended to be asleep and would follow after him. You know what? I'm at a good stopping point with my shield. If you've got time, how about I tell you a couple more Miguel stories?
I guess I'd better get comfortable.
See you tomorrow. Before we go, do you guys have everything?
Something
All right.
feels odd here. Be on your guard.
So, washer seems to be done. Hmm.
I won't forgive you!
You're mine!
Everlasting ghost.
Searing
Negative
flame!
gate. Resonate with the earth.
Rip and tear! You're
Stalagmite.
mine!
There!
Lightning thrust!
I'm not so good with airborne targets.
I'm not done! Ignite!
The abyss. I'm free. Why can't they just sit still?
Sion, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done.
Sion!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Do it!
Something you wanted to say?
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
We can really make weapons with this?
Oh shit. This is a pain. Why can't this Zoogle stand still?
All right.
Perhaps it's time I deploy my secret weapon. I'll stop it right where it stands. I already know how to use him though. There is a whole tournament art.
My heart. When he slows down, that's our chance!
It's like trying to keep up with a wall!
No further.
Be still!
Eagle fly.
You're mine!
Begin. I'll tear you apart.
The fluidity of your movements are simply incredible.
Dance. I'll finish you here and now.
You're finished!
Prepare to be seen.
It's over! Lightning! Hear me! Flame of fury!
It's over!
I'll tear you
None
apart.
shall escape my judgment!
Prepare to be sealed, O fleet of foot.
You're finished!
Actually, perhaps bound is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing!
Lightning thrust! Stardust! Here I come! Blue escape!
Gemini Aqua!
You should have messed with me.
Now! Take this!
No further.
Strike! Stardust!
Resonate with the earth.
Here I come! Blue escape!
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes.
A merry distraction.
There's still more to go!
Stalagmite.
Rising Falcon!
Require a hand.
Take this!
Excited! It's over!
Can't get out of
Do
this.
it!
Sion,
This ends now!
consider yourself finished!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course.
Oh, hell yeah. About fucking time. I mean, technically I have 8 artifacts acquired.
I sense a strange power from this.
Am I on a roll or what?
Well,
What do I want to put here? Let's do Sword Alpha. Double Demon Fang. Let's put Double Demon Fang up here. Howling Storm. Severing Wind. Mirage. Hurricane Thrust? No. Void Flash. There we go. Actually, I want to change Stardust and Rising Falcon. Mirage is probably better than Rising Falcon, so we'll do Rising Falcon here. Because I feel like I can chain right into Orochi. So 3, 4, 6. I should try that.
look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danon slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. What about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman. And this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danon, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danons in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danons in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
No choice. You're mine!
With the earth.
Strike! Lightning thrust!
Airborne beast. My
Think of fire!
I've got this. Let a marksman handle it.
All yours!
On your
Orochi's
None
fury!
shall escape my judgment.
You shouldn't have messed with me!
You're finished!
I'm on it!
The tide of battle has turned.
That's the power of comrades in arms!
Comrades in arms.
What? Too sentimental?
Annihilation.
Strike!
Hear me, flaming fury.
What? I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
The overkill, bro.
Is there anything more magnificent than the musculature of a warrior? Perhaps it is in search of this perfect beauty that I myself am drawn into battle.
The rice.
Right, here goes!
Stay calm. I shall provide assistance.
Be still! Mirage!
Begin!
Orochi's fury!
Leave the agile ones to me. Pesky airborne scoundrels.
Sounds like a job for yours truly.
Take this!
The enemy wields odds too.
You'll soon see about that.
Orochi's fury!
Do it.
Look sharp!
Lightning tiger blade! See that?
That training's paying off!
Force of regeneration.
Regenerate!
Let us take to the fray.
Take this!
Use the ensnaring to me.
Try harder!
Yeah! And probably to me!
Lightning thrust! Now we're not. Mirage!
Orochi's fury!
Did you just hear me?
Yes. I need you, remember?
Right.
Astral energy.
Say no more! Not a chance!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
Okay, I gotta swap this because, just habits. But I think otherwise it's fine. Oh, I definitely didn't need the gold. I just need other stuff.
It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're comfortable with them then?
Oh yeah. We used to run up and down these slopes all the time for our training exercises.
Damn. You weren't messing around.
Gotta break through! Take this!
There! And a
Hey, when did I get so popular?
Confiscated!
That's enough! Elusive deity!
It's over!
Try this on for size!
Rotating fireball!
Ready! Radiant flood! Here!
Raging Lunar Storm!
Freezing storm!
Lightning thrust! Stardust!
Tornado! Leave the enemy's arcs to me!
Oh, now there's no complaints here!
It's over!
Eagle touch this!
Here!
Take this! Be still!
I'm ready!
River!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Searing
My turn.
flame!
Strike!
Elusive deity! Rotating pile
First
driver!
strike! Be still! Stardust!
Make the official deep
Here I
clear
come!
for us a path.
I'm not
Eagle
done!
assault! Do it!
I've been doing really great lately.
No backing down!
You're mine!
Flame of fury!
It's over!
Strike! Glacial spear!
You're mine!
Evil! Confiscated!
Swallow
Freeze
dance!
Lancer!
Eagle assault!
Orochi's fury!
Lunar corruption!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Power of water!
You're mine!
Annihilation!
Strike!
Elusive deity!
Oh, come on.
Take this!
Cyan instant! Here's a healing
An
arc!
astral art?
That's my cue!
Shut him down! Eat dirt! We did it!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more
See
pummeling.
what happened
Cut
there
them
is
apart to your heart's
Shouldn't have done that.
Freezing! This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes. A merry distraction.
There's still more to go!
Wow, look what I just found.
Expert coming through!
No further.
Here I come!
Eagle assault. Watch this.
Super No escape! Stardust!
Burning strike!
You're on!
Raging
Come and
Lunar
face
Storm.
me! I have no limits! Here I come!
First aid!
Now I can let loose!
Begin.
Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! Now! You're mine! Lightning thrust!
Lightning! Downfall!
Scoot back!
Stand back.
Not today!
I'll trip it up.
Be still!
Go away.
Stardust!
Can't take much more.
I'm ready.
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
Here I come!
You're not holding anything.
This one's got your name on it!
Ashes to ashes.
Damn, you guys got wrecked.
I need to be stronger.
We got some good equipment.
I can't say its appearance is to my tastes, personally.
Oh, you can't swap them.
More Danon ruins here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here.
Maybe they just had that much time and energy on their hands.
It'll be a breeze. Get in, get out.
I'm not done!
Don't mind if I do.
Going in.
One more!
There!
Orochi's
You got it!
I'm
Card
just
expert,
getting
coming
started.
through!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Hit me a skill
I'll
card!
smash you!
Do it! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Make your break!
Continue on in that vein.
Astral energy!
Say no more!
A comfortable win.
Get lost!
Strike!
Rip and tear!
Raining thrust!
Unguard! Eagle Assault! I'm just
Water,
getting
hear
started!
my call!
Rip and tear!
Round and
Vessel,
power!
you're
Here's
mine!
evil!
Burn!
Time to shine!
Freeze laser!
Swallow dance!
Orochi's Fury!
Going in! Did you hear
Sword
it
Rain
now?
Alpha!
Tiger Blade! Eagle Side! Far enough!
You're finished!
Gemini Aqua!
This
Here
one's
I come.
mine!
Damn
One
it!
more!
It's over!
Tiger Blade!
Stardust!
Hurricane Blade!
This one's mine!
Here I come!
There's more where that came from. If it's in the sky, it's mine.
mine.
Rocket shout!
Where are you going?
Lightning thrust!
On guard!
Stardust!
Reload! Radiant
Sword Rain Alpha!
Tiger Blade!
All mine!
Make it rain!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood. I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured, we have reached the top. It's all downhill from here, quite literally.
So Mahag Sar's just up ahead then?
Indeed. If you look, across this mountain,
Get lost!
I'm not done!
Don't mind if I do.
Eat this! I'll tear you apart! This one's
Mirage!
mine!
Orochi's Fury!
Hurricane!
By the power of water!
Burn in hell!
I'll finish you
Take
here
it!
and now!
Orochi's Fury!
Do it!
Totally! In an instant! Impact Claw! My turn!
First strike!
I'm not
Kill
done!
this hurricane!
You're finished! Mirage!
Thunder Dragon!
Orochi's Fury!
Just getting started!
Take this! Not a chance!
really owe you one.
No escape! Lightning thrust!
Do it! Tiger Blade!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Nice one, Alphin.
Yeah, there's more where that came from.
Ah!
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
Ugh.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Something wrong? You look like you're deep in thought.
Not exactly. I was merely thinking about you two and your sense of etiquette.
Oh?
Etiquette?
Indeed. To be quite frank, I find your lack of manners to be nigh intolerable.
That's not being frank, that's being an... Forget it. Do we really need to talk about this now?
Yes, I find such impropriety on your parts to be deeply unsettling. It concerns me greatly.
What do you want us to do? We were slaves. We never got to learn how to be proper like you.
Yeah, what he said. Maybe you missed how we were just focused on surviving.
Perhaps, but Kisara here demonstrates that it's quite possible for a Denon to learn proper manners.
That's because I was given the opportunity to learn. Moreover, my duties as a guardsman required it. Not every realm is like Menancia, as you well know.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to hold us to some other city standards.
Exactly. You've got to remember what it's been like for us living under the Rena elsewhere.
I will concede that you do indeed make a valid point. It would appear, for all my espousing the virtues of equality between our peoples, I was still looking down on the two of you.
You don't need to beat yourself up. I wasn't that offended by what you said, man.
Nevertheless, I shall mind my words from here on out. Having said that, I do believe you two would still benefit from learning the basics of proper society. I would be more than happy to teach you both when we camp out, if you like.
Yeah, no, I'll pass. Acting all prim and proper isn't really my style.
If you say so. How about you, Law? Would you like to learn? Although I suppose my first task is to reform your attitude toward the idea of good etiquette.
You're not gonna let this go, are you?
Oh, that led to nowhere. Also, this looks like progress, so we're not gonna go there yet.
Seriously? Is this a joke?
Just getting started. No escape. Got flyers.
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
See you continue on in that thing.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
I feel sprightlier than before.
Sprightlier, that's definitely a word.
It'll be a breeze. Get in, get out. I'm surrounded!
Mind if I do?
You're
Healing
finished!
circle! One more!
Escape!
Arc seal! Quivering laser!
Mirage!
Flying freaks! Why can't they just sit
You picked the
still?
wrong... Sia, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done!
You're finished!
Don't mind if I do! I'll heal you all!
Take this!
I'll take you all on! Ha! Flare the Malisa!
Here, let me help! Leave the enemy's arc to me!
No complaints here!
No escape! You're... Here I come! Not again!
Eat this!
Struck!
Tiger Blade!
Mirage!
Here!
Orochi Fury!
Lightning!
Sword Blade Alpha!
None shall escape my
Just
goodness!
hitting charge!
No escape!
Ray! Do it!
Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Did it!
Yeah!
Not
Nice pick!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
Is that progress too? Man, it's really hard to discern what's progress or not. If only there was like an overall map I could look at to get an idea. Oh, orange gel.
What's this place here? Some kind of old house?
I don't know.
Seriously? Is this a joke?
I'm not done!
Going on! That's enough!
Stardust!
Tiger Blade!
Stardust!
That frickin' does it! You see what happened there as you crossed me? Shouldn't have done that.
Ignite!
The airborne scoundrels!
Sounds like this ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Oh, they're not going to be in the sequel.
That's some power you wield.
You're the one who did the heavy lifting.
An opponent like this should be easy. I'm not done!
Don't mind if I do!
Going in!
Swallow dance! A freezing storm!
What a
Here
relief!
comes
Did you just heal me?
Yes, I need you, remember?
Right.
Falling star!
Be still!
Get behind me!
I'm on it!
Lunar corruption!
The enemy wields arts too.
You'll soon see about that!
Shouldn't have messed with me!
Tiger Blade!
You're mine! I'm not done! Orochi Fury!
Sword Blade Alpha! Back into the fray!
Take your
I'm
way!
not lost!
Look sharp!
Lightning Tiger Blade! That training...
Damn.
There's more where that came from.
It's on!
No escape! It's on!
Eat this!
I'm not done! Not today!
Lunar corruption!
Sword Rain
By the
Alpha!
power of water! Super swallow dance! Hear me! Flame of
Be
fury!
still!
Turning
I'm not done! Stardust!
Wait!
Tear!
Blade!
You're out!
Now I'm in the
Going in!
blade.
Flame!
Give me a hand.
I
No
know!
escape!
Watch and weep!
Prepare to be seized with weak foot. Actually, perhaps bound is more appropriate.
Let's talking!
Look sharp. Lightning Tiger Blade.
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
Ow!
Here I come!
Do you require a hand?
Flame of fury!
Take this.
This one's mine!
You're mine! No escape!
Eagle Assault.
Stardust!
Great answer!
How about this?
This
one's
one's mine!
Stardust! Not today!
Do it!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
Chitara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Sword and shield!
A classic combination.
Hey yo.
Hey, new equipment!
That is the wrong direction. This leads to one of the previous areas, doesn't it? I'm hoping it does. Save the game.
What's that big tower over there?
I might be here a little bit early. I mean, I don't know what this area is.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Horse meat. We're eating the horses. Oh no.
You can never be too prepared. But did we have to spend...
Everything's going pretty well so far.
Dohalim, your spare bracers were getting dirty, so I polished them up along with the rest of your equipment.
Why, thank you, Kisara. I greatly appreciate that.
Maybe it's just my imagination, but you sure seem to fuss over Dohalim a whole lot, Kisara.
It is a little strange. Almost like you're still in his service.
Really? That's certainly not my intention. Besides, he's not the only one I'm like that with. Hey, Law, I saw your clothes were starting to get holes in them, so I stitched them back up for you.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Kisara.
Point taken. Do you just like looking after people?
I wouldn't go so far as to say I like it, but I get anxious if I don't. I'd always like to help if I can. It comes naturally to me. Back in the day, Miguel and I used to look after the younger kids a lot, so that's probably where it comes from. He taught me everything I know, and I mean everything. How to cook with wild plants, how to sew clothes so they'll last. Without him, we never would have been able to survive.
However, you're not a lord anymore, Dohalim. You need to get used to the idea that people aren't just going to wait on you hand and foot.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I'm ashamed to admit that I felt no qualms about her doing all that for me. As both a Renan and especially as a lord, one becomes too accustomed to those beneath you tending to your every need, both Renans and Danans alike.
Sure, that's how all you Renans are probably raised. But just to be clear, we're not your servants, Dohalim. Got that?
Absolutely. Moments such as this provide me with ample opportunity to confront my unease. It is difficult to tend with my own motivations.
What do you mean?
The truth of the matter is that my espousal of coexistence in Menancia hardly came from an idealistic place. That instinctive unease I feel deep within serves as a reminder for what it is that all of us here fight for.
Don't be so hard on yourself. No one's going to abandon you if you aren't always perfect.
Looking at her now, I think she's more like his mom than his servant.